If I was to tell you that this Toyota Yaris would be able to keep up with an EP3 race car and an MR2 race car around Cadwell Park, you probably wouldn't believe me, would you? Well... Today we're up at Cadwell Park for a track day in my Toyota Yaris T-Sport with MSV Trackdays. And as was a race day the following day, the day was full of race cars, making this a mini test day more than an actual track day. Now of course there's no prizes for being the fastest on a track day, but it's going to be interesting to see what my Yaris can keep up with, as it's had great success in the Javelin Sprint series, but will it be able to keep up with fully fledged race cars? And as the day was super busy, there was always something around the corner, whether that be faster cars or something to try and keep up with, making this one very busy day on the track. But before we get to the track day, there's a reason why we were also here at Cadwell with all these race cars, which I better explain. Hello YouTube and welcome back to another video where you join us at a very foggy Cadwell Park. This is actually meant to be Cadwell Park, but as you can see, you can't see the track. So we're here for a race in the Mazda 2 and the rocketdog Mazda 2. Spoiler alert, the race got cancelled because of this. We did qualifying. I'll leave the qualifying. Oh, I did one lap of qualifying because it was on the safety car and I got one green flag lap. So I'll leave the lap here if you want to see it. There, it'll be on the second channel. So yeah, so for today's video, we were here yesterday in the Yaris for track day. Yeah, I'm just going to show you that because unfortunately I can't show you a race. It was meant to be practice for the race, but well, this has been cancelled, so I'm just going to go over the footage from yesterday. But yeah, here's the first session from yesterday in the Yaris, more sunnier Cadwell Park. So here we go, out for session number 1 of the day, and I'm not going to lie, these first 2 sessions not a lot happened at all. The track was still quite damp from the night before, and to be honest I wasn't really finding the groove, A with the track and B with the car itself. I just couldn't click with either the car or the track, so for whatever reason my driving just went completely down the drain in these first 2 sessions, and not a lot of cars were out at the same time. So I'm just going to leave you with a couple of clips then of my bad driving. So yeah, like I said, not a lot happened in these first 2 sessions at all. The only real major thing then was me catching up to the Civic and overtaking it. And like I said, not a lot of cars on track either, so it was basically just me hot lapping the track pretty much. But my fastest lap then from the first 2 sessions, coming in with a 1:57, which isn't very quick at all. We know it's not quick. We did a 1:54 in my Swift just a couple of months ago, and obviously we've done the Javelin Sprint series in the Yaris as well, getting a 1:39, though cutting out the mountain part of the section. But we know there's time to find in the car, so let's get to the third session then. I'll go out on my own just to try and see if we can click with the car or the track a bit better. So here we go then, session number 3. The track is now a lot drier, the track is now a lot hotter, so hopefully we can switch these tyres on a bit more, hopefully switch my skill on a bit more as well. Now I'm on my own, just trying to get into the groove of the track and hopefully get some good battles in with a lot more cars now on the track. As 2 laps later we do find ourselves then, so we've got this MR2 race car by Rogue Motorsport ahead, who's also behind a Mark III MX5, who is going pretty slowly, so he's holding both of us up at the moment. But luckily he does pull off into the pit at the mountain, and as soon as he does that he lets the MR2 go, and well, it allows me to go as well to try and hunt down this MR2. And coming down the start-finish straight, the MR2 then looks like he wants to let us go, but unfortunately the Yaris just doesn't have the power at all to get past the MR2 without it lifting. I do notice a couple of quicker cars behind me, so I do let them through, so hopefully for them to get past the MR2 and for us to continue this battle. But unfortunately it does take about a lap or two for them to get past the MR2, but the battle does continue after they do. And a couple more laps later then we've got the MR2 ahead of us coming into the mountain section of the track, and with a clear bit of track apart from this quicker BMW that's just passed us, how quickly can we catch up to the MR2 around this tight and twisty part of the track? Well, as we get to the big back straight then, the MR2 does eventually let us past. I was hoping to have a bit more of a battle with it, as it, say, pretty similar-ish pace. Yeah, that MR2 probably should be a little bit quicker than me, so unless there's a new person driving it or someone's being instructed, obviously I'm not saying that the Yaris is quicker, but it was definitely good to have the little battle with the MR2. And as we come on to our final lap of the session, we'll notice just in front of us then is a white Fiesta ST150 with a red Golf, who was going pretty slow. So as we get through this part of the track, we are going to really then catch up to these two cars. Obviously on a track day, you can't overtake anyone in the corners, it has to be on the straight. As we get to the Fiesta ST150, I was hoping then to have a good battle with it, as I was hoping that these two cars would be on a pretty similar pace. But as we come down the start finish, once again there's more quicker cars behind me, so I do allow them through because I don't really want to hold them up at all. Obviously the Yaris isn't very quick in a straight line at all, but the Fiesta manages to get past the Golf with that MX-5 race car then hunting it down. But as we come up to the hill, unfortunately I'm just going to be stuck behind the Golf, which must be on a cool down lap, and it does allow the Fiesta ST150 to get away. And at this point I've been out for about 15-20 minutes, so I do back off, do allow the car to cool down and bring it into the pits for lunch. And if you're all wondering, my fastest lap from this session ended up being a 153.9, which was actually my first lap, as it was the only clean lap I actually managed to get. So the track's definitely improving, my skill is definitely finally improving, but I wonder if we can improve on that after lunch. Right guys, that's lunch. That's the first sort of 3-ish session is done. Yeah, bit of dodgy driving at the start, especially with going off. Yeah, obviously tram was, well, what I'm blaming it on, track is damp. Haven't had a passenger, like I said in the intro, haven't had a passenger in this for a while, so obviously the weight transfer, I'm just using race driver excuses. But yeah, coming to that last session, now that, you know, the sun's come out, it's a bit drier, yeah, it went a lot better. Say battling with that MR2 race car, keeping up with quite a few other cars as well we probably shouldn't be keeping up with. Quite happy with the MR2 obviously, because back at Mallory on the old tyres and the old setup, just couldn't keep up with the MR2 race cars, but now around here in Cadwell, you know, flying right up to them. So it's nice to see that the Yaris is definitely progressing in the right direction. Yeah, I'll see you here back in the car. And as we get to session number 5, then there's not a whole lot happened in session number 4, but I did get a fastest lap of a 1:52.6, so that time is definitely coming down. But for this session then, we've got two racing UK boss Neil with us on the left hand side. This is actually the first time I'm showing him a driving. It's the first time he's been a passenger while I'm driving on track, and we're actually behind this Civic Type R in this EP3, which is in front. And because I've been doing the Javelin Sprint series, it's almost natural for me to sort of go for it straight away out of the pits. There's almost the Civic's doing as well. So let's just see how well we can keep with the Civic then out of the pits. So I managed to stay with it for around a lap or so, but I imagine the Civic then has warmed up properly and starts flying off into the distance. But still, for a 100 horsepower little Yaris, it really isn't that bad at all to actually be able to keep up with something like an EP3. But if we skip over then onto the next session, and the final session for me in the Yaris, we get stuck behind this BMW then who's going slow, possibly on a cooldown lap, and we get another EP3 through them, but this time it looks like one of the race cars that are out testing, and it's got a nice big spoiler on it. But I'm actually going to leave you with the footage once again, just to show you then how well we can almost keep up with this car. Now I'm not saying that we're properly keeping up with it, is the driver in the Civic probably isn't the best, probably first timing, or maybe he's getting instructions, but still, once again, a 100 horsepower Yaris is managing to keep up with a Civic. It's still pretty impressive. So as you can see then, we're really catching up to the Civic in the corners, but unfortunately it's the straights where it's going to let us down, especially coming up this hill then, because yeah, the Yaris doesn't quite have the power or the torque to quite make it up and down these straights quicker than most things on track on the day. But we do have to let these quicker cars through then behind us, these few race cars. But luckily, as soon as we let them through and coming back to the mountain, we do get behind the Civic once again to continue this little battle of ours. And once again, it's just the big straights then that the Yaris just can't, compete with most things on this day, as the Civic does start pulling off into the distance. I can really keep up in the corners, but the straights, I've just not really got a chance. And so as soon as the Civic then starts getting off into the distance, we do start cooling it down, and that was actually the last session out on track in the Yaris. We do have one more session out though, and it's with the 2 Racing UK Mazda 2. We do give it a quick session just to see what it's like around Cadwell. So let's skip to that footage then, and let's just see how I thought of it. And on the final session then of the day in the Mazda 2, for whatever reason, I had no confidence in this Mazda 2 at all. It just felt very understeery. I didn't feel the confidence in the corners that I did in the Yaris. Now this could be down to quite a few different things. The setup of the car was set up for both Colin and Neil, who was meant to be racing it the next day. Obviously it got cancelled. So I hadn't changed anything at all. The tyres are different. This is running MRF tyres over the Yoko AO52s that the Yaris is running. But yeah, just hadn't really have any confidence at all. So we'll just skip forward a little bit. I'll just show you a bit of the lap before we got red flags, just to sort of give you an idea of what it is like to drive around here. And there it is then, a red flag to end this session and to end the day off. So let's go to outro then, back to the foggy Cadwell Park. Oh, so there you go, there's the track day done. And like I say, can't show you the race because fog. So yeah, Yaris performed well towards the end of the sessions anyway, quite damp at the start as you can tell. Went off, driving was a bit all over the place, but started to get a bit more confidence. When I drove the Mazda as well, knocked the confidence down a little bit as well. But then when we did qualifying today, getting the Rocket Dog Mazda 2, I actually felt really confident in that. Ended up getting a 209, which is miles faster than the other Mazda 2s at that point. Yeah, it's just unfortunate that the race got cancelled because I was really looking forward to it, pace was good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the track day footage anyway from yesterday for us. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Shame I can't show you the race. But yeah, thank you very much for watching YouTube. Don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one, which will be, I'm not sure, whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I'll see you then.